Hello and welcome to another cast of Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever. I'm Spooky House and today we're casting a 4v4 on probably the most famous map of all time for Supreme Commander, which is SETON'S Clutch. Let's go ahead and introduce our players. This will be Team 2 down in the bottom left hand corner. This will be Team 1 in the upper right hand corner. So let's start with Syndalist. He is a UEF and he is in the southern pond position, also known as Navy. We have an Aeon Donor Mutant, and he's in the central position, focusing on land. We have Ferv, another UEF player, also in the Navy position, focused on the northern water section. And last but not least, for Team 1, we have Lidake, who is a Seraphim in the air position. Let's go to Team 2, starting with the land position of Boston Sticks. He is also Seraphim. Will be an interesting matchup in the middle. As well as AS Pole, a Cybran in the southern pond, as some of casters call it. We have Master of Spicy Videos of the animated variety. He is Aeon in the northern water section or pond or lake or whatever you want to call it. And last but not least, we have Storm UEF in the air slot. So on Team 2, we have a UEF, an Aeon, a Cybran, and a Seraphim. So all four races represented on the southern team. And on the northern team, we have two UEF, a Seraphim, and an Aeon. So no Cybran on the northern side. This is a 20v20 kilometer map, which is the biggest map possible in Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever that I know of, off the top of my head. I think there might be bigger ones, but I haven't seen a bigger one. Let me know down in the comments if you have seen a bigger map more than 2020. And let's get on with the reclaim, or the available masters on the field. Some of it is on either side, but a lot of the mass is located in the central causeway. We have both land players moving their ACUs, or armored command units, to the front to start hoovering up all of that not math. When we have Domer Mutant collecting the first of the reclaim, sucking up all that juicy mass. Oh, sorry about that. And we have his mirror, Boston, a little further behind, but still on his way nonetheless. As you can see as well, we have another ACU. We have the southern pond position, also moving up to the middle. This is a roughly new development in the meta for this map. You have two ACUs move to the center to secure more reclaim and hopefully deny the other team. Unfortunately for the northern team, Team 1, the mirror to the southern player, Irv, is not deciding to move. So the central causeway will most likely go to Team 2, go to Boston Sticks and his compatriot. But it looks like more of the mass is starting to go in the way of Mutant over here. There is some debate about going for these Titans and smaller wrecks versus these two giant Salem wrecks. There's debate about which is faster or how much mass you get, depending on when you get out. And so we have a couple T1 units, T1 artillery shelling sticks. Some damage, about 1,000, 1,500 or so. Not a whole lot, but could mean the difference between life or death at some point. We have both players scouting their respective side islands for the rock position. The giant mountain, they call it a rock. I don't think that's a rock. That's a mountain, or mountain range, or a very tall hill. So I don't know about you, but I feel like that is not a rock. It'd be made up of rocks, but it's not a rock. So we have landing, or I guess maybe that was just a He just walked that unit all the way over there. I highly doubt it, but I don't see any. Have you seen any wrecks anywhere? No. Oh, there's a wreck in the water. No. So it looks like he might have walked it there or brought it back. I don't see it as of right now. Scouting over the middle for Team 1. And we have a bomber out from the Cybran AS. He's just kind of hovering over here, hanging out. Maybe he's going to try to deny any forces that come to the side island over here. Surprisingly, the UEF player does not have a transport out to transport his engineers over here, which is kind of surprising. It looks like both the combined forces of Boston and AS were also able to kick Domer out. Look at that. Under 2K. I'm sorry I missed that. Apologize for that. It's very hard to get everything all at once. I've watched casts for, I'd say, 4 or 5 years now. Big fan of the game, and they miss stuff, so be patient with me as I get better at my casting abilities. We have some interceptors on a leisurely stroll out to the normal slot for naval factories, but maybe they were anticipating a dropship of some kind. Oh, we do have that dropship now built. Okay, it looks like he's loading engineers now. Same thing over here, just lazily stroll of some spy planes. Or some air scouts, I should say. Spy planes are the tier 3 version. Intel, very important. Probably the most, if not one of the most important things in this game. You gotta know what your opponent is doing, because if you don't know what they're doing, you can't plan accordingly. And if you can't plan accordingly, you might get screwed over. So, Intel, scout, 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 scout. We do have a transport unit out from Ferv. Looks like it is headed in that direction. It's headed up here. I don't know why he's dropping. Maybe he's doing just like a drag build of factories. I don't really know what he's doing up there, but we will have to see. Gun speed specifically for the UAF flavor for Domer up and running, or Donor almost up and running. I'll call him Mutant because Donor, I feel like Mutant is more recognizable than Donor. Sounds like Dozer from Payday 2. I still don't know what those... Yeah, so he's just going to build a factory up here. Maybe you just do a line of them. I don't really know. I feel like it'd be easier to just build over here, but who knows. Let's see what's going on. Not a lot of boats out for both players out in the southern pond. A couple frigates, frigate and sub. Couple subs. Not a whole lot of boats so far. But only one factory, which is surprising. Usually you have at least a couple of them by this stage, but we'll see what's going on. T2 on the way for the pink player of the spicy video variety. Looks like that factory is now built and it's just sitting there. Okay, well, I don't know what they're going to do with that. Looks like the middle is pushing forward. Team 2 is trying to kick off Mutant from this center causeway. Trying to cut off any reinforcements from reinforcing his comm. But he is getting T2, so he'll rip up some hit points as well as be a little more beefier. So less likely to fall to the wayside. Just building some more boats. Yeah, kind of a slow opening. Kind of not a whole lot going on. Just kind of hanging out. Kind of a nice nice kind of calm match, which is for Setons. And if you play Setons a lot, it kind of is slow in the beginning because it's very eco heavy. You're getting out a bunch of mash. You're getting power generators. You're taking up. Air is getting in full swing. We almost have T3 air for Storm, and we have T3 air for Lidake. So Lidake a little further ahead, getting that power generated up to start ramping up production. Still leisurely stroll of scouts, just hanging out, seeing what's what, making sure nothing crazy happens. Looks like the comm of Asus, I should say. I want to say Asus. Is pulling back a little bit, maybe reclaiming a little bit. We do have the comm of Mutant coming out to say hi to Boston. Boston does look like he's in a dire situation. We have sub 3,000 versus sub 6,000, and he does have that gun speed upgrade on, so that will make this fight a little bit favored in his side. But he is falling back, and Asus, I did it again, is coming to reinforce, and looks like the forces of Boston were defeated by some tier 2 units, it looks like, some heavy tanks. Up in the north, we have some strolling, some... I don't know what they're actually doing. They're kind of just hanging out, going back and forth. We have some group up forces of the Cybran variety of AS. Looks like he is going for T2 without a secondary factory, which is very surprising because you want to still be pumping out units, but he might be thinking teching up would be faster and better. And his opponent is producing units as well. And see, he's getting a second factory. So, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. A lot of people also put factories over here and have engineers assisting on the island. That's also a strategy you can do. As over here, for example, with the Master of Spicy Videos, he has some naval factories which have taken some damage. It looks like. Kind of what they do is kind of shield the mass extractors from incoming fire, and also resupply faster because they don't travel. They travel a little bit shorter distance, so it's easy to resupply. He also has one here, so he's spreading out his factories, making sure that he has production at all times, which is always a good thing. Diversifying is always good for your portfolio, as well as it is for FAF. ASF production is in full swing. It looks like he's just focusing on some for now, and then we'll probably expand. Tier 2 mechs not capped yet, which is surprising, considering that's what you would do next, and he's in his base. The core mass as a term that you will hear in a lot of chats and other casts as well. Spy plane over the top. And tier 2 on the way for Boston to, again, just like Mutant did, rep up some hit points, get a little bit beefier, can't be taken out very quickly. And we have the long stroll back for AS. But like I said a little bit ago, very calm. There's some fighting, especially in the middle. But not a whole lot. No spicy plays, no bomber rushes, none of those like early strat kills or anything like that. So very calm. It's kind of rare for me to see something like that. We do have a little drop here from Ferv. He is moving. Where is he moving to? He's moving to drop to this Mechs and take it out and probably push inward to the base. Drop behind the forces of Boston, which are tier 2 Ilshis, so those tier 1 units would not get past that. And he sent, this is smart, he sent one unit to kind of get some intel and got killed, but he kind of got an idea. We can kind of, if we click on him, we can see what he can see. Like, oh, there's something there, there is a point defense there. So he is aware that he is, Mutant is starting to fire base, and that drop was successful. Nice. It's good to see some flanking maneuvers. And oh, look at this! We have some T2 torpedo boats going after the comm of Boston in the water, and those air defenses are not going to last very long against those torpedoes. He has friendly ASFs, but I think those torpedoes are going to be enough. Let's see. Ooh, 2,000, a little over 2,000. They get probably, oh, there's more incoming. If they get like a couple more torpedoes off, I think it's going to be the end of Boston's career in this match. And that's it for him. This is, as customary for SETON'S, at full share, so all units and buildings will transfer over to another player of the same team. As you can see, they were transferred over to Storm, the highest rated player of the game. The dangerous thing about full share is that if your allies have built up enough infrastructure, you can just get a bunch more resource and production very quickly. And if you're better at the game, faster at the game, have more APM, then you can easily just outscale your opponents. But this was transferred over to the Southern Naval player, AS, which makes sense because he probably wants to focus on air, and you need a micro air in a 20 by 20 kilometer map. So he'll take the front line for both the middle and the southern pond. Looks like we have some comments down in chat. Looks like somebody's upset that no one built the radar. Like how it says "come on" instead of it says "come" instead of "come on." But anyway, let us see what's progressing. We do have a small battle group out from Ferv shelling the mass extractors that were once Storms with the T2 Cruiser the Governor, one of the best long-range missile ships or sieging ships in the game by the UEF. Outscaled and outperformed by the Tier 3 missile ship of the Aeon, but still a good unit, good anti-air. You always want to have those ships in your fleet if you're a UEF. And as we can see, we have some destroyers out from Master, but it looks like they're not willing to engage. Those missiles unfortunately do not track, so if the target moves, it is harder to hit, so he has to keep his units moving so they don't get shot. Grouping up of forces for AS and kind of just hanging out in base. We do have a shield ship, the Bulwark. Really good ship for defense with the UEF. Can block all projectiles, even if they're torpedoes. They do have a shield, so if they lose energy on the shield, they will have to recharge. But, you know, every shot blocked is a shot another ship can take, and that could mean the difference between victory and defeat. We have Tier 3 sonar platforms, so everyone knows what's going on down there. As you can see, this is what they can see. They can see all the way out to here, and as well as Master also has one, and they are mobile, just to let you know, so you can move them. And so if we click on Master, we will see that's the range he can see. Only naval units, though. So he can tell that there are units in the mix. But if we go back, you can see there's not that many units, but it does obscure that there are a decent amount of them. We do have some T1 engineers hanging out in the middle, probably scooping up some mass as well as doing something with that power generator. We don't have a lot of movement in the middle. Mutants kind of hanging out. Not doing a whole lot. Just defending mid, which is good. You don't want any Tier 3 units getting in the back line and doing some shenanigans. More torpedo boats as well as another drop of engineers, probably scooping up some wrecks. Yes, always important. Probably again, up there with intel. Gotta reclaim. Most important. If you get mass more than your opponent, mass is the limiting economic resource in the game. More mass counters less mass 90% of the time. And as you can see, Team 2 has collected more, generated / reclaimed more than Team 1. However, Team 1 has more generated income, as you can see, by 850 to 780. So they are staying behind as of right now. That will probably change if those numbers and that ratio stays about the same. They will eventually change. But for now, Team 2 is winning the mass game, if you want to call it a game in that sense. It's just, again, more mass equals more resources equals more units. And more units counters less units. Oh, look at this. We have some destroyers out from the southern naval player looking to bombard the central causeway. We do have to keep them moving, though. There are T2 artillery defenses in this little causeway, so if they keep moving, they're just going to get shelled and possibly get destroyed. But because they're Cybran has the unique faction bonus of every unit can auto-repair itself. It is very slow, but you don't have to spend the APM and engineers to manually repair something. Oh, sorry about that. Still getting used to the camera controls. We do have naval fleet movement to the middle. Looks like teammates are communicating and having our map awareness. They are shelling the position of mutant, and kind of cautious for him. That's a decent amount of firepower coming in, and unless forces from his team come in and try to relieve him, it's not gonna go very well. We do have the fleet for moving in that direction, but not continuing in that direction. Need to keep moving and either distract or at least delay the possible inevitability. He is going on the causeway, which isn't one more hit will do it, but it looks like he might be out of range. If these Salems hadn't pulled back, they could have taken out the comm of mutant, but maybe they're thinking they don't want to give the resources over to somebody else, and since he's not doing a whole lot, decided to just hang out. And they've even sent mass to him to help with rebuilding efforts. So you're taking resources away from one player and giving it to another player that isn't necessarily doing a whole lot. But it looks like that mass differential is getting worse, and their totals have flipped in terms of total mass crewed. We have that's got to be reclaim related. There's no way it's, I mean, maybe. Let's see, reclaim, because it does take into account the amount of reclaim that is currently being collected. You got to be aware of that. But yeah, that looks like it has generated income that they are 200 more than their opponents, which is huge. It's a huge amount. Would like to see this sonar unit pushed back a little bit, because if you lose intel, then you can't have your ships fire on them. So pulling it back, it has a wide range, so just pull it back like back here, and that should be fine. Maybe manually just click it and be done with it, but I don't know, maybe he's distracted doing something else. You can't see where their cursors are currently, or at all in the game. That'd be a lot of moving around. It would be very distracting and very hard to focus. So they don't show where cursors are. Some games do that. Bar is a good example of you can see where people's curses and people's focus are on. So that's kind of nice, but the game's a little slower than this, and usually not as big. But it is nice to see from time to time. But in this game, you would see them move so much, it would, if you had astigmatism or anything like that, it would not be fun to watch. But spy planes moving out for Storm, kind of get an idea of what's going on over there. You will see units periodically disappear off the edge of the map. It's just because they're in a patrol route, and the way they do their turning arcs, they just happen to go off of map, but they come back. It's not like a finite wall. If you hit it, you crash. But that spy plane did not have a chance. It ran straight into those ASFs, and those ASFs are like, nope. A Tsar under construction for Lidake, the Aeon Donut, as some people will call it. It is a very good anti-air, but it is super weak. So you gotta micro it, make sure not a lot of ASFs, excuse me, wow, having a hard time to speak today. Go after it because you put a lot of mass into it. It is an experimental, so, it is powerful, but it is weak at the same time, so you gotta be aware of it. But by far, my favorite experimental air unit is the Seraphim Bomber. Hopefully one of the players will build it in this match so I can show it to you. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I forget the name off the top of my head. I've heard it so many times, I just forget what it's called. It's been a minute since I've heard its name. But it looks like Storm does know, and is telling his allies that he's making czars, so they are aware. And someone's laughing in chat. I don't know why, but he does. It looks like he has more ASFs than his mirror. It looks like he has over 100, exactly 100. And Storm has... Oh, the wrong thing. Okay, not that far off. Only about 5 behind. That's not... Actually, that's not that big of a disparity. But with that Tsar, if he goes full in on that Tsar, it might mean the difference. He might get air control. In terms of Lidic, by the way. So yeah, forces for both teams in the southern and northern parts, just grouping units together. Not sending them out, not deciding to go just full bull, balls to the wall. Let's go attack everyone. But being very conservative, very held back. It also looks like we are getting some shield boats from the UEF, as well as Cybran ships, and as well as Seraphim ships. I always like to see sharing of technologies because not every faction has the best units for each type, whether it be frigates, submarines, cruisers, ASF, whatever. ASF are pretty much the same. But it's good to see that diversifying your different technologies allows for different mixtures, and also means that if your opponent is unaware, I'm sorry about that, my computer decided to just throw an error message and completely crash FAF. It said I ran out of memory. I implore anybody watching the video, if you've ever had that issue, if you could please comment down below of how to solve that. That's happened a few times the past couple weeks or so, and so if you guys have any tips to handle that issue, I would greatly appreciate it. Let's get back on with the cast at hand. We have the first T3 battleship on the field, as well as we have a huge movement out. Oh, I guess second, because Summit was built. A huge movement out from Syndalist, going all the way to the edge of the map and going south. Let's see, does... Not Lightic, other team. He does know that there's a huge movement of units, doesn't know exactly all these random signatures. But he does know they're on the move, and that's a little scary that you're letting them to get that close to without some any conflict or anything like that, because your fences are pretty weak over here, and you have T3 engineers just kind of hanging out. The Tsar has been built. The first experimental of the game. Look at it, and oh, it's too high. It's too high for me to change camera angles. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, there, oh, there we go. Look at that. Look at that giant donut. Look at it. Just sits right above the horizon line. Really cool. It's a really cool experimental. Definitely recommend if you play Aeon and you're in the air slot to build them. They are very effective. They also have long-range missiles, but are super weak, so you got to be aware of that. Looks like the fighting has finally commenced down south. We have some torpedo bombers as well, gonna support. Hopefully they go for the anti-air so they can just rain with impunity with their torpedoes. We have some spy planes out as well to, I guess, scout the air player. That's a SACU. We also have a strategic missile launcher, and it's almost loaded. So we will see if he's able to launch that. That will be the first nuke of the game. We have the Air Force from Lidic moving south to support the naval forces of his compatriot. And we do have the nuke launch. He launched it as soon as it's ready. And where are you going? Looks like he might be... Oh, he's going down the middle of the causeway. We also have experimental Ute built for the Master. It is a Tempest, the Aeon battleship naval unit. Really impressive. Has a giant cannon on the top. As well as it's submersible. So it's able to hide from most of the incoming fire from naval vessels. But obviously torpedoes can target it, because torpedoes can go underwater, because that's how torpedoes work. It is bypassing Mutan's base because he's kind of irrelevant at this point. And is making way to the back to the air grid. Is there an SMD loaded? There is not, so this is going to land and it is going to hurt. Boom. Takes out most of the air grid. Takes out the T3 air HQ, which means they cannot build T3 units until they rebuild that. As you can see, the order is freaking out because it can't actually build the unit. And the ACU was not in the blast radius, which was good for Lytic. I think he's actually... Is he actually? Oh, he's just over here on the ridge, just hanging out, right in front of my face. How is that southern aggression going? Well, probably not as good as either team would like. A lot of the forces have been destroyed. Look at all that reclaim. Look at it. Look at all that reclaim. It's so much. It's so much reclaim. As well as, I hope they're going for the anti-air instead of the missile ships, because, or the shield boats, because you don't have anything shooting back at you, then you don't have to worry about building more units. But the air wing is coming back, as well as that Tsar has finally made it all the way down south, and is gearing up to, I guess, go along the southern edge of the map. We finally have a conflict in the northern pond. Battleships and battle cruisers, as well as a experimental battleship and some anti-air, some aircraft carriers. Not good for actual ship-to-ship combat, but good anti-air, and you can build the units on the in these little aircraft carriers. And so even without land air factories, you can still build air units. So another avenue of production as well. We have missile ships, governors still firing on them. We do have some TAC missile defense. One of the best TAC missile defenses in the game. Will not protect against direct fire though. So yeah, that's not helpful. But it looks like we might be seeing a move. Where did that Tsar's hiding in that sea of ASFs. So he's going to screen with the ASFs and continue moving on with the Tsar. We do have T1 land spam out from Masters of Spicy Videos out to take out the naval production facilities of Syndalist, the naval player in the southern pond. As well as it looks like he is also beating back his mirror, I guess his opponent on the northern island as well. So taking out Navy on both fronts is a good move, considering his opponent is probably distracted either micromanaging his forces down here, or with this surprising amount of gunship spam that we see out from this T3 HQ. They're stingers, they're not the broadswords. They're cheaper and easier to make, probably to counter the land spam. Taking out a lot of factories. I would like to see some anti-air mixed in here with this ground spam, but he is doing a pretty good job of taking out all those factories, so he gets credit for that as well. That Tsar is baiting, and you can see the little dots, the little yellow dots, they're projectiles, and those are the little missiles that they're sending out, anti-air missiles only. Half of the shield is knocked out, but no health or hull damage onto the actual donut itself. Air wing is coming in for the ASFs for Storm, and they were unsuccessful in taking it out. It still has about a little over a quarter, about a third health. Its shield is repping up, but it is still weak to direct fire attacks like these SAMs, these anti-air launchers. Looks like he's going for the main air grid of Storm. That nuke launcher is probably his target. He doesn't have a nuke loaded, and is about a third of the way there. He is almost done with the Novax. So if he takes that out, that's going to be very disappointing for him, and it's gone. The splash damage of the Tsar is pretty impressive. And SACU is just like, yeah, I'm here, just hanging out. You know, I had a donut land on me, but I'm not dead. I'm just gonna build this mass extractor. No biggie. But it does. You can see it does about 10,000 damage. So a lot of and he was like almost right on top of it too. So a lot of AOE damage with that. Not very effective if you just throw donuts at the opponent, because they could just reclaim it and use the mass. But if you can't really use it to take anything on the ground, and you're like, oh, it'll just die if you can track the landing correctly, then you can do a lot of damage like that, like taking out a almost complete Novak center and a nuke. But we still got other things going on in the battle. It's not over yet. We do have a completed Novak satellite for the naval player down in the south for Cinderless. He's building more fusion reactors probably to supply the power for these shields. We have mass FAF farms. We have SACUs. We have all of the toys, or at least most of the toys in play. We have the ACU of Ferv chasing down this T1 spam. We'll see how far that makes it, but I highly doubt it'll make it very far. He has been 100% kicked out of the land game, the naval game, by probably that Tempest, who's taken hardly any damage, which is very impressive. Still have, well, I guess not 100%. We still have a couple factories up here, but torpedo bombers will make quick work of the rest of those. So it looks like we're seeing this kind of split starting to kind of be more than 50-50. Given the fact that one player is completely dominating their opponent in the naval game. Being able to shell his entire base as well as starting to shell mutants as well. Gunships took care of that land spam. Or the T1 spam, I guess. We do have some battleships. A couple battle cruisers as well. So we do have a hefty naval fleet down here, as well as some combined Cybran, UEF, and Seraphim forces. Battle cruisers, battleships, missile ship, not missile ships. I want to call these missile ships. Shield ships, frigates, sub hunters, just, you know, pretty much every good thing from each of the factions. And aircraft carriers as well. So good to see a diverse and diversified portfolio of ships and units. We do have another experimental unit built for Syndicalist. It is another Novak, so that is 2 Novaks satellites. These defense satellites are very effective. They give a AoE sightline of the enemy, go kill grid, as well as they are indestructible. So you can't target them unless you target the station itself. It kind of acts as like a relay station control center, so if that gets destroyed, then that's it. That's all she wrote. The satellite just crumbles to the ground and dies. But it's not a targetable unit. It is Omni too. You can literally see everything. We have, ooh, what is this? We have a saucy little play. Since this is the first time I'm casting a Cybran, because my last game did not. Oh no, I missed it! Dahmer was destroyed! Dahmer was destroyed by the master of spicy videos. It looks like the naval artillery was able to finally take him out, and his stuff went over to Lytic, the highest player on Team 1. Anyway, we have a laser. Oh, or not. We do have personal stealth. We have the we do not have the teleporter, so he's not doing. It's called Tele-Maser, which is pretty much a teleporter maser laser, which is pretty much one of the highest outputting weapons in the game, but it's on the chassis or the torso of the comm. So it's very risky, but if he's able to pull it off, very effective. I guess he decided better of it? I don't know why. Maybe he saw some intel, and maybe it's not really super worth it right now. I don't know. All of these SACUs would definitely be hard to break through, especially if he went for somewhere over here for these defense satellites. Another satellite going up for Syndicalists, as well as we have some land aggression from Master of Spicy Videos. We have a secondary air grid up and running for Storm, as well as a bunch of mass fabricators. It's double ringing is what they call it. So like the first ring is the mass storage, the second ring is mass fabricators, taking advantage of the adjacency bonus and improving the output. So good to see that Eco is in full swing. Speaking of Eco, let's check on it. 2.09, 2.1 million for Team 1, 2.07 million for Team 2, so a little bit behind. And generated Eco is 1.6, so they have gone up. They've switched the numbers again and are slowly catching up to Team 1 in terms of generated mass. We have some sort of aggression, kind of, sort of, doesn't want to commit, kind of does want to commit. We have some land spam, good to see this as well. Again, every shot that doesn't go into a ship is another shot that ship can take. And also target saturation. If there's so many targets, it's hard to target the actual ships you want to. And especially if you're not microing all of the units, they just target pretty much the closest thing, or they target the first thing that they hit until it's destroyed and they move on to the next one. I would like to see the rest of his fleet moving, because just sending out his spam is not really going to work. I mean, he does have governors and a decent amount of them, but he also has to face shield ships, as well as the battleships for the Cyberans also have TAC missile defense. As you can see, the little lasers come out. It does take 2 hits to destroy a missile, but if you have enough of the battleships, then you don't have to worry about it. Okay, showing up the shores for Team 2 over in the north. The entire Team 1, pretty much all of Ferv's units have been destroyed. Team 2 owns this pond, this lake, this body of water, this semi-ocean, whatever the heck you want to call this. I like pond. I like watching Guile. I've watched him for a while now, and so when he casts these games on these maps, he says pond, so it's kind of stuck in my head. But we do have more of an aggression out. He's using this kind of teetering in units, sending in one type, getting them all having them all get killed, sending in the next type. He should be sending in more of them at a time, but he's probably fearful of the amount of battleships that his opponent has. He has 2 of the UEF variety, and he has the 9. So he has 11 battleships in total, as well as, does he have any battle cruisers? Oh, he has 1 battleship back here from the Seraphim. The Seraphim also have the ability to build nukes on their battleships, so that's fun. Sea-based nukes are all fun and games until someone just has 11 of them and you just get swarmed by nukes and there's nothing you can do about it. Fun times, fun times. He has contingent of destroyers down here with a shield ship, but not doing a whole lot. We have some torpedo bombers out from both teams and some sub-hunters out to take out, I'm assuming the cruisers is his main target, but he could also go for these destroyers. Destroyers also have torpedoes. Land spam continuing moving down the center, not really getting anywhere. We have a chicken bot, a Yothana, and we have another experimental built for Storm this time. What do we have? We have his own satellite. He has UEF, that would make sense. You can see it shoots out and expands. It kind of deploys and it gets its full little wings. So satellites going back and forth. I don't know where the satellites went for Syndicalist. Oh, they're going after the resourcing options of his opponent, which is smart. I'd go after the production as well, and he does literally what I say as I'm saying it. SACU production, as well as a bunch of engineers just hanging out. It looks like the Air game for Team 2 is strong, and there is really no challenge to it. They have air dominance. I would like to see some strats. I'd like to see just using that to your advantage, because eventually your opponent's going to build more air factories. Why is there only like a few of them? You should be building them back. He's just hanging out in the middle. Why is he building all of this PD defense? I mean, maybe it's dissuade against tele-snipes for that strategic missile defense, the SMD. That's a lot, though. That's an excessive amount. Like, way more than you would ever need to kill a telecom. More production going in the middle. We have another experimental out from Master of Spicy Videos. We have that. We have a chicken bot from AS moving north through the water, which is good. Shouldn't go that way, because it's just going to get shot at the entire time. That satellite taking its slow turn. Oh, what is this? We have a SACU teleporting in to take out the SMD. Ooh, spicy plays, spicy plays. I was gonna say, does someone have a nuke? And someone does. It is out from the person I didn't think that would use it, but okay. We have some strategic missile submarines out from the northern pond player of Master of Spicy Videos, and it was shot down. Maybe going after the comm or whatever they're doing over here. Producing more and more SACUs. And they're repping up for some reason. I don't know why. What they got? Engineering suite? Oh. Because you can build preset RAS ACUs. Which RAS is Resource Augmentation System. So it's like increasing the resources that they generate. Oh, we got another nuke! Where is this one out from? It is out. I'm blind. Oh, it's out from the back of Lydic. And where is it going? Let's see. Let's go check. Can we see? We can't check. It looks like it is going for either the main base or the secondary base of Storm. It looks like Storm's thinking, yeah, it's probably going for here. We have... Oh, it's going to be close. SMD's loaded. Or not loaded. Almost loaded. Is it going to make it? It is going to make it. Is it going to make it? That nuke on the mini-map. You can see it in the top left-hand corner. It's moving. Yeah, it's moving. Is it going to make it? Is it going to land? They're sure working on it. Come on. Is it going to land? It's going to land. Boom. It's funny. It impacts on the shield, but it still does damage to the structures below it. Tore a giant hole. That air grid is gone. But for Storm, didn't take out any of the satellites. Kind of a weird play, because it didn't take out any of them. He says I'm screwed. Didn't take those out, which is really weird. I would have at least focused on one of the two sides, but I don't know, maybe you thought the air grid, maybe it would chain react. Oh, look, there's another nuke. There is another nuke. Never mind. You can forget what I just said. He prepped in advance. Satellites are taking out. Resources options for Team 2. Another nuke inbound. It lands on the resourcing options of... former resourcing options of Boston, which... I mean, yeah, it speeds up the destruction of it, but it could have been used maybe on the satellites, something else. Looks like the forces of AS have pushed back his opponent all the way to his naval production yards, as well as they've sniped the T3 naval headquarters, which means they can no longer produce T3 units until they rebuild it. They do have a battleship and a battlecruiser in tow, so not a complete loss, as well as a couple other battlecruiser here, but this is probably a lost cause, honestly. You got some kennels, you got some production, you got some eco, but it's going to be a losing battle here, so it's only a matter of time. Looks like the land spam is still going on. And looks like a chicken died in the process, as well as a galactic colossus. Sad to see both those. We got another one. We got and it didn't go anywhere. It literally is going to impact the shield. Maybe it'll kill. It kills 4 of the bombers that decided to land. It does a little bit of AoE splash damage when it lands, but not a whole lot. We have another chicken clearing up the middle. We have Ferv going for T2 engineering suite. Lots of ASFs. Not a whole lot. Oh, what is this? What is this? We have a Paragon. For those who don't know, the Paragon is an infinite money glitch. Pretty much what it means is doesn't matter what a unit or a structure or whatever costs, it is free, pretty much. This generates an infinite amount of resources. So, yeah. But the downside is when it's fully built, if it explodes, it's nuclear. So anything near it's gonna die. But that's going up pretty quick, though. 600 hit points out of 5,000. Gotta keep aware of that. Does Team 1 know about it? They know that something's there, but oh, that's just the transport. They do not know that it's there. So it's not good for them. Do we got anything going down? Got SMDs loaded down here. We got one loaded down there. I wonder if he built another SMD. Yes, he did. That's not loaded. Do we have any nukes loaded in the back? And it's got 5 vet. It's killed 111,000 mass. It is almost up. But looks like the satellites are going to be like, yeah, that's not going to stay there. All the transports in the world, though. And the chicken's gonna possibly make it into the back line. Maybe it's using the transports as cover for the bombers, because it does have a anti-air cannon on it, but it's very weak. And slow. It's going to get in. I would focus on power generators, or if it's that weak, just put it in the main base. When it's destroyed, you'll see it in a second. Look, some strat bombers, I think, as well. Maybe it's just T1 bombers. It's not. Oh, it got a rank and vet very quickly. Right at the last second. And, oh, it sees something. And it dies. Now you'll see this ion storm at a spawn. And it pretty much just randomly attacks anything in the vicinity. Lytic's like, I am out of here. See ya. That's a lot of PD, very low. But looks like it's not going to do a whole lot of damage to anything. It sits for a little bit, but doesn't last super long. Satellites over resourcing mass fab farms for master of videos. We have just more missiles loading. We have Syndalist has almost been kicked out of the naval game. He has some tier 2 Riptides kind of hanging out. That's pretty much his only naval units. And we have nukes. We have nukes. And it looks like, is he out of the game? No, multiple of them landed. A lot of SACUs. We have a barely functional Novak Center. One under control. Oh, that one's dead. We have a Maver. We have a Maver as well being built. The strongest artillery structure in the game. Very big, very powerful, very penetrating would be the word that I would use. Oh, and look at this. We have a response to that, which is another Maver. So we have a Paragon up in the north. And we have a Maver being built by his compadre, as well as a Maver queued up for Storm. So the 2 air players going end of game tactics. There's a phrase for it, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. The power situation not looking good. All the shields just turned off. Let's see what his power situation's at. Oh no, it's fine now. It just must have had a blip or something. Oh, Syndalist, I guess, controlled Cade. He bowed out underneath some SAM coverage in the water. He did get that Novak Center to stay alive, and I guess he quit the Favor project. So he'll be gone, giving the resourcing options and units over to Lydic, which will actually help in the production of the Paragon because he actually has a lot of mass to spend. Look at that. So, and I think that is going to finish without him stalling. Satellites are on top of the situation, trying to take out the shields. The Paragon has been built, and Ferv has been knocked out as well. So it's Lydic against the world, pretty much. Paragon has been built. It's ball of infinite energies. And they're starting to build shields up to defend against any incoming fire, especially from these satellites. Does Team 2 have an answer to this? We talked about that Maver a little bit ago. It is not even half done. So if Lydic is not able to use the Paragon effectively, maybe this will take it out. But if he builds enough shields, it won't really matter. Especially if he macros the shields as well. He's building Salvation, Rapid Fire Artillery Stations. Not a whole lot of damage coming out of each shot, but they fire very quickly, and they're very good at taking out shields. The satellites are just going to sit here and pepper the shields until Paragon is destroyed. I built some more. Oh, he's already done it. Built some more SMDs. Get those loaded, ready to go. Probably should either take that fusion generator or quantum reactor offline or something, because it does do an AoE splash damage on death. Sorry about that. My dog barked for some reason. I do apologize about that. I'll have to go see what she's up to after we're done with this cast. Defending the shoreline. They haven't broke it yet. Honestly, he should just send the rest of them in, and that would be the end of it. But there is T2PD down here as well. So if they got super close, they could pepper them as well. But I guess if he keeps them busy with long range, it's not the end of the world. This isn't being macroed anyway. Not a huge concern. Some SACUs on the move. Built a naval factory going after that sweet reclaim, probably to help construct the Maver, because he's probably low on mass. Oh yeah, he is very low on mass. He's gonna build a shield. Probably realizes those rapid fire artilleries might be a problem. It is almost finished, the first one. I would assume that he's gonna build more than one. Built a line of SAMs, built a line of PD. SAMs again. We have 2 donuts in tow. We'll see if they can get anywhere with this. With all those SAMs, I highly doubt it. The shield is gone, and just look at the hit points just evaporate. And splash damage doesn't do anything. And that one's gone as well. They were so close to that artillery station, but close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. Firing on the air grid of Storm. Do they know of the Paragon? Not the Paragon, of the Maver. No, they don't know anything about it. That's my earlier comment in the beginning of the video. Is intel, 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 and more intel, because you can't have enough of it. And that is almost built. It was built. And it'll erect its long, drawn-out cannon. Look at that thing. Look at it. It's just very intimidating, and somebody might be compensating for something as it gets into position. But Team 1 or Lydic hasn't noticed it, taking out the air grid, which is good too, but that is a problem, especially because he's stalling on power again? Yeah, he's stalling on power again. Well, I guess with the loss of those fusion reactors, that would do it. And you're building shields, which does not help. Oh, and there you go, he fixed it. He's balancing his eco. Balancing eco is very important in this game, because if you don't have enough eco to build something, it does build slower. Those satellites still hitting the shields, not really doing anything. More and more shields are being built. Another station, installation station online. Oh, and Maver shells are starting to land, impacting the shields as well as the ground underneath. Lydic, you're standing kind of close there, bud. And these are considered experimental as well, because they are a very unique unit, just like the Maver. Well, look at that. Look at the incoming fire from both sides. Just all the tiny little dots. You can see 1, 2, about 3 on screen versus the like 10 to 15 from the Salvations. Though some of the shields are starting to buckle. Oh, that was a good hit. Took out some of the... Oh, what happened? Lydic killed AS. He tried to tele-snipe, and it didn't work. And probably went after the shields, it looks like. Damaged a few, decent amount of them, though. But was unable to destroy the Paragon, unfortunately. So one less player, but all of his resources go to... They go to Storm. And they have finally found the Maver, and the shields are starting to buckle. It's going to be close. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, there's no shield over it. Ooh, it doesn't have a lot of health left. Ooh. Ooh, that was dangerously close to Lydic. Ooh, it's close. Ooh, it's close. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna I'm gonna go to split screen. Split. We're gonna go over here. I should have done this a little earlier, my apologies. And then we're gonna go over here. Move. Over here. We're gonna see. We're gonna see who wins. We're gonna see who gets there first. Building. They're moving out of the way. I don't know where they're going. Okay, getting up some more shields. Good. Good to see that. They also have some SACUs with some shields to help mitigate some damage. It's really close, folks. It's really close. We have some rover drones, which are just getting annihilated. But shields are being built back up, so it looks like he'll hold for a little bit now. Another experimental built. It is not a salvation. Oh! Satellite's got it! The satellite's got it! That's game! That is game! Lydic was standing too close from the next explosion, and that is it. And the shields are just starting to buckle. That was a very, very close game. I thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next cast.